For 25 years, everyone thought they had the perfect marriage. Michael and Linda were the couple people envied. They had the big suburban home, 2 grown kids in college, a successful business, and a reputation in the community as the couple that had it all figured out. To the outside world, they were the picture of loyalty and love. But behind closed doors, cracks had been forming for years. Michael, a 52-year-old contractor, had built his entire life around providing for his family. Linda, 49, was elegant, charming, and the kind of woman who turned heads when she entered a room. She was the supportive wife at family gatherings, the smiling hostess at neighborhood parties, and the one everyone said Michael was lucky to have. Yet Michael couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something wasn't right. Linda had become distant. She started guarding her phone like it was a treasure chest. Late-night errands became more frequent, and the laughter that once filled their home had been replaced by long silences and cold stares across the dinner table. Michael tried to ignore it at first. After all, 25 years is a long time. People change, couples go through ups and downs, but this wasn't just a rough patch. This was different. It felt like Linda wasn't just pulling away, she was hiding something. And Michael was right. He was about to discover a betrayal so devastating that it would not only shatter his marriage, but also expose secrets far darker than just an affair. This is the story of how one man uncovered the truth about his wife of 25 years, and why the ending will shock you. Michael always believed Linda was the kind of woman who would never betray him. But lately, her behavior didn't just seem different, it screamed suspicious. She started coming home late, claiming she was out with friends, but her hair was freshly styled, her lipstick smudged like she'd been kissing someone, and her perfume lingered in the air long after she passed him. One night, Michael noticed something chilling. At 2 a.m., Linda slipped out of bed, tiptoed downstairs, and whispered into her phone. He followed quietly, stopping just before the kitchen. He heard her giggle, a soft, playful laugh he hadn't heard directed at him in years. "Tomorrow night? Same place?" she whispered. Then silence. Michael froze. He wasn't hearing things. She was meeting someone. The next day, he checked their joint credit card bill. His blood boiled. Charges at an expensive hotel downtown, room service, champagne, and not just once, but multiple times. When Michael confronted her, Linda didn't flinch. She looked him dead in the eyes and said, "You're imagining things. You always work late. You don't notice me anymore. Maybe this is your fault." That night, Michael couldn't sleep. His chest tightened with rage and confusion. But then fate handed him proof. Linda was in the shower when her phone buzzed. Michael grabbed it, and what he saw shattered him. Hidden in a calendar app were dozens of messages with a man saved only as D. The messages weren't innocent. They were filthy, passionate. They spoke of hotel rooms, lies, and promises to leave him soon. But one line made Michael's skin crawl. "Don't forget, if your husband finds out, we're both finished." Whoever D was, he wasn't just her secret lover. He was hiding something too, something dangerous. Michael's hands shook as he put the phone back. This wasn't just betrayal, this was bigger, much bigger. Michael couldn't get the name D out of his head. Who was this man? And why did Linda risk everything after 25 years of marriage? He needed answers. The next morning, he pretended to leave for work, but parked down the street. Hours later, Linda walked out of the house, dressed to kill in a red dress Michael had never seen before. She wasn't going shopping. She wasn't meeting friends. She was meeting him. Michael followed her downtown to a hotel, the same one from the credit card bill. From his car, he watched her walk straight into the lobby and greet a tall, well-dressed man with slick black hair and an expensive watch. They kissed like teenagers, then disappeared into the elevator. Michael's stomach churned. This was D. But something didn't add up. D didn't look like some random fling. He carried himself with power, confidence, like a man used to being in control. Later that night, when Linda was asleep, Michael searched the name he'd overheard at the hotel desk when D signed in, Daniel Crow. His jaw dropped. Daniel wasn't just anyone. He was a well-known real estate developer in the city. Rich, connected, and according to multiple articles, embroiled in lawsuits and whispers of shady business deals. Michael realized this wasn't just an affair. Linda hadn't fallen for some ordinary man. She was tied up with someone who had influence, money, and enemies. And if Michael exposed them, he wouldn't just be ending his marriage. He'd be stepping into a scandal that could destroy reputations and maybe even put him in danger. For the first time, Michael wondered, was his wife just unfaithful, or was she involved in something far more sinister? Michael knew suspicions weren't enough. He needed proof. The next morning, while Linda was in the shower, he quietly unlocked her phone with the fingerprint she always left smudged on the screen. His hands shook as he scrolled through hidden messages. There it was, her chat with Daniel Crowe. The texts weren't just romantic. They talked about plans, about money transfers, and about keeping Michael in the dark. His heart sank. This wasn't just cheating. Linda was helping Daniel hide something big. Later that week, Michael bought a small recording device and slipped it into Linda's purse. That night, she left the house again, claiming to meet a friend. Michael stayed behind, waiting. When she returned, he retrieved the recorder. His stomach turned as he played it back. Linda's voice was clear. "Don't worry, Daniel. He suspects nothing. Once the papers are signed, we'll have access to everything." Papers? Access? Michael's pulse raced. They weren't just having an affair. They were plotting against him. But what were they after? Money? Property? His entire life's work? Michael realized the betrayal cut deeper than love. It was about control, greed, and possibly danger. And for the first time in 25 years, he looked at his wife and thought, she might destroy me if I don't act first. Michael couldn't sleep. The recording kept replaying in his head, Linda's voice, cold and calculating. By the next evening, he couldn't hold back anymore. When Linda walked in from shopping, he was waiting at the dining table, the recorder sitting right in front of him. "We need to talk," he said, his tone sharper than she'd ever heard. Linda froze. Her eyes darted to the device. "What's this?" Michael leaned forward, his voice low. "I know, Linda. I know about you and Daniel. The texts, the late nights, the recordings. 25 years, and this is how you repay me?" For a moment, her mask slipped. Then, just as quickly, she forced a laugh. "You're paranoid. Daniel is just a friend." But Michael pressed play. Her own voice filled the room. "Once the papers are signed, we'll have access to everything." The color drained from her face. She stammered, "It's not what it sounds like." Michael slammed his hand on the table. "Not what it sounds like? You were going to destroy me, Linda." His voice shook with rage and heartbreak. For the first time, Linda's calm exterior shattered. "You don't understand. You've always had the power, the money, the respect. Daniel gave me something you never did, control. I deserve this." Michael's chest tightened. This wasn't just infidelity, it was betrayal with intent. As Linda stood there, defiant, Michael realized he was no longer arguing with the woman he had married. He was standing face to face. Michael stared at Linda, his whole body trembling. "Control?" he repeated, his voice cracking. "You threw away 25 years for that man?" Linda's lips curled into a bitter smile. "Daniel understands me. He believes in me. Not like you, always judging, always in control." Michael's fists clenched. "Who is he, really? What does he want with us?" Linda hesitated. Her silence was enough. Michael's chest tightened. "You don't even know, do you?" He stormed out of the room, grabbed his keys, and drove straight to Daniel's workplace, the construction company on the edge of town. But when he asked around, no one had ever heard of him. Panic crept in. Michael dug deeper, searching public records, old contacts, anything. Then it hit him. Daniel Crowe wasn't even real. The man Linda had been seeing was using a false identity. The photographs Michael had seen of them together were taken in private places, never in public, never with anyone else around. Michael's stomach dropped. What if Daniel wasn't just after Linda, but after everything Michael owned? He raced back home, stormed into the living room, and demanded answers. "Who is he, Linda? Do you even know his real name?" She froze, her face pale, her hands trembling. Finally, she whispered, "He told me if I ever revealed the truth, we'd both be finished." Michael's heart sank. This wasn't just an affair, it was a setup, a trap, and he was right in the middle of it. Michael couldn't let it rest. That night, while Linda pretended to sleep, he slipped out with the small tracker he had bought weeks earlier, just in case. He waited in his car until Linda drove off the next morning, claiming she had errands. He tailed her carefully across town until she pulled into a rundown motel on the outskirts. His chest tightened when he saw her knock on room 12. The door opened. For the first time, Michael saw him clearly in daylight. Mid-40s, sharp jawline, expensive suit that didn't match the shabby motel. Something about him felt off, too polished, too careful. Michael snapped photos from his phone. Hours later, he ran them through a private investigator he knew from college. The call came back that night. Michael, this man isn't Daniel Crow. His real name is Anthony Vargas. He's been investigated before, for fraud, embezzlement, and ties to organized crime. Michael's blood ran cold. Vargas wasn't just having an affair with his wife. He was grooming her as part of a bigger con. That's why Linda mentioned papers and access. They weren't only plotting betrayal. They were preparing to strip Michael of his assets and vanish. Michael felt his world spin. 25 years of loyalty, love, and sacrifice, about to be destroyed by a man who wasn't even who he said he was. But as he sat in silence, clutching the evidence, one terrifying thought echoed in his head. If Vargas has been doing this for years, how many others had he ruined before me?